I always believed silence was safe, predictable, honest. But the night my parents arrived at my condo with 4 suitcases and a rehearsed story, silence became a warning. Fall air still lingered on their clothes. When Mom hugged me, whispering, "We lost the house, bad investment." Dad settled on my couch like it already belonged to him. Their voices were soft, trembling, too soft to be real. I let them in because that's what children do. But by the second day, something felt wrong. Mom reorganized my kitchen like it was hers. Dad adjusted hinges, rearranged furniture, and spoke of our place without hesitation. The truth pressed on the walls like a silent alarm. By the third morning, panic rose inside me. Their story didn't add up. Their behavior didn't match the fear of people who'd lost everything. So I called Adrian, an old college friend, now a lawyer. That call shattered everything. My parents hadn't lost their house. They sold it voluntarily and transferred $950,000 to buy a luxury home for my brother Daniel. They lied to me, then walked in my home, expecting me to be their safety net. That was the moment silence stopped protecting me. It began warning me once I learned the truth. I could no longer pretend. I returned inside to see Mom building pyramids with pantry cans and Dad fixing a hinge that wasn't broken. They looked settled, too settled, like they'd already claimed my home as theirs. When I confronted them gently, "You need to start looking for another place," the air shifted. Mom froze. Dad sharpened, and when I didn't back down, Dad stepped closer. "We gave your brother a house because he needed help. You're fine. You've always been fine." To them, my independence wasn't strength. It was a justification to sacrifice me. When I said the word no, truly said it, everything snapped. Dad's palm crashed across my face. No warning, no suggestion. A white flash, a dizzy tilt of walls, my vision shaking. That slap wasn't anger. It was entitlement. I straightened, my cheek burning, and dialed 911, not out of revenge, but survival. When officers arrived, their authority filled the room like oxygen. My parents were escorted out, suitcase wheels clicking against the hallway floor. The silence they left behind wasn't empty. It was the first silence that belonged to me. 3 days later, the aftermath began. Marissa, Daniel's girlfriend, called me in tears. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, but the call cut abruptly before she could explain. 2 weeks passed, then Grandma Evelyn called. "Come. It's time. You know everything." When I arrived, she slid a newspaper toward me. The headline hit hard. "Local man faces foreclosure after failed startup gamble." Daniel, he had mortgaged the $950,000 home, the one my parents gifted him, and lost nearly everything in a reckless investment. My parents hadn't been victims. They were accomplices in their own collapse. And now they had nowhere to go. When they entered Evelyn's kitchen, the shame on their faces was a language I'd never seen. Daniel looked hollow, exhausted, humble. For the first time in his life, they explained everything. The house sale, the hidden mortgage, the collapse of the business. For the first time, they didn't defend themselves. They broke, and in that moment, I realized something painful. They didn't come to me because they trusted me. They came because they thought I would save them again. Sitting at Evelyn's table, I listened while Mom cried. Dad confessed and Daniel apologized with a shaky, broken voice. For once, there were no excuses, only consequences. Dad whispered, "I became someone I shouldn't be." Mom said, "We believed Daniel needed help. We didn't think you'd understand." Daniel said, "I wanted to make you proud, and I destroyed everything instead." And Evelyn, steady, fierce, said the words that finally cracked their denial. "Natasha doesn't owe you her home, her peace, or her forgiveness." The room went still. My parents didn't defend themselves this time. They didn't guilt me. They didn't demand anything. They asked to try again, to earn forgiveness instead of assuming it. Boundaries for the first time were being respected instead of resented. My anger didn't vanish, but it loosened enough to breathe. Enough to help. I told them I wouldn't fix their mistakes, but I was willing to talk. Not forget, but talk. Healing didn't start with love. It started with honesty. Healing didn't happen quickly. It happened quietly. My parents stayed with Evelyn, learning responsibility instead of hiding behind excuses. She didn't pamper them, she guided them. Daniel got a modest job, nothing glamorous, but he worked consistently, humbled by reality instead of inflated dreams. He called once a week, not to ask for money, but to apologize, to rebuild. And my home, my sanctuary, felt mine again. I changed a lock, rearranged a few corners, made space for myself instead of others' expectations. One Saturday I visited Evelyn. My parents were outside raking leaves together. No drama, no pretending. When they saw me, their faces lit with hope. Not entitlement for the first time. I didn't feel resentment. I felt possibility. We may never be perfect, but we were finally honest. Forgiveness, I learned, isn't forgetting. It's refusing to carry someone else's mistakes on your shoulders. My boundaries are firm. My home is safe. My peace is real, and the future, we're building it, one careful step at a time.